It is Niemira from Fintech and Founding Conference in 2019, and here we are speaking with John Lyotier, the CEO of RightMesh. And well, welcome here.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us. And definitely, we are living in a very interesting times. But when we even looking at the history and what was happening in the 19th century, industrial revolution, it caused a lot of turbulence and a lot of fear as well. And right now with those new innovative technologies, there are some questions about it as well. Is blockchain going to work? Is cryptocurrencies are going to survive? Is anything like fearless future?
Well, if you have to look even further back than that, if you look back to Gutenberg and the printing press, it put a lot of monks out of work who used to scribe all the books, or Eli and his cotton ginny, or any inventions, and Ford and his assembly line, or Elon Musk today and the automation he has in his factories. I think people are naturally inclined to be afraid of the unknown, and the future is filled with unknown. It's human nature to be wary of that. I think. Is there a chance for a fearless future? Is there a chance that at some point we will no longer be afraid?
Well, it seems to me when I'm looking at the history that was an attempt with every single political system, trying to create this fearless future that we are going to live happily ever after with no worries. But that's in a way impossible, and maybe that's good because fear at the same time prompts us to certain actions.
Well, I spent a bit of time last year at a refugee camp in Bangladesh, on the edge of the Myanmar border. And I went out there expected to see a fair bit of fear because there was fleeting atrocities. Expect to see a lot of sadness, a lot of just angst that would exist in the current situation. And I didn't see that. I actually saw happy children, and that really surprised me. And then you start asking, well, why is that possible when we have so much angst across Western society here? We have so much. Yet in the camps, they get food every 3 days, so not eating every day, so they're not starving to death. They're alive when their families are not, so that's a bonus. They have a sense of community, and that's basically it. And they can practice their religion.
A sense of survival.
They have a sense of survival, but that's all they have. Yet they have a sense, and I hate using the word happy when talking about the communities, but there is a sense that they have enough.
Maybe it's a sense of carpe diem, catch a moment. Whatever it is right now, it's precious.
Well, I think it's more that the sense of community that they have, they realize that that's the most important thing. So the angst that we have, I think, is probably largely driven by trying to keep up, trying to have as much as possible.
Yes.
And the fear that you don't have is probably the thing that keeps on driving more and more of that fear. It's the unknown. For those children in the camps where they have nothing, it's not even that they have nothing and didn't know any better. They had lives beforehand. So I think fear is really, no offense, a manifestation of media as much as it is anything else. But I think that if you talk about the utopian society, in a way we have all the tools we need already to live in that utopian society, so we shouldn't fear it. But people still fear that unknown, and that's kind of unfortunate because then you miss out what's happening in the present.
Yes. Do you think that connectivity, in a way, is the way to go? Because a lot of people right now already complain about that we are connected too much, we're using too much of the social media. But when we're talking about connectivity, it's not just social media. We're talking about, connecting for the transmittal of the funds. We're talking about, just communicating and even like getting the communication tools.
Well, you and I are connected too much, but most of the world is not. If you still have nearly 4 billion people on the planet who do not have connectivity or do not have adequate connectivity. So you and I are getting these alerts 200 times a day that's interrupting our lives, interrupting with this constant likes and status updates and checks. But most of the planet is not connected all the time. So then the question is, well, if you introduce connectivity into these communities, are you going to sort of further the same type of angst that we face about having to be always on your phone or always on taking down tweets if you don't have enough likes, all those sort of weird things that we as a species do.
So do you think that Western society is paying too much attention to the trivial things?
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt. And I think we we live on that triviality. I think if a lot of the dystopian movies of Hollywood that have a pretty big basis in reality focus on the, oh wow, look at my big fancy hat I now have. Nobody cares. Look at my reality show. Well, there's a reality TV star for a president in the U.S.
Is it not at the same time that we're truly missing life?
We definitely are missing life. And it's, I was down at South by Southwest a few weeks back, and I got a tattoo. Got a tattoo. Mostly to remind myself.
Yes, may I see?
Yeah, so it's a kite.
It's a kite.
So, reason
to fly high.
In the camps, when I had a lot of angst after we left the camps, and I said they only have those 4 things, but something else that they have is kites. When you actually are looking at every single hilltop in all the refugee camps, you see all these children flying kites. So they're alive, they have food every few days, sense of community, practice religion, and they have a kite. And
so kite is almost like a symbol in a way, because yes, it's a toy for the child, but at the same time, when it flies high,
you lift your head up, you embrace the world.
Exactly, and you're looking at everything what is around you, and at the same time, it shows you the possibilities, flying high.
It shows you the possibilities, but it reminds you that there's a Hawaiian proverb that says the kite flies because of its tail. If you take care of the little things, you be aware of the little things, the big objective gets achieved. So for us, when I started thinking of a kite, and the reason I got the tattoo was to remind myself, don't forget the little things. It's the little things in life that are important. It's the laughter of children when they're flying a kite. It's those types of things that we have to remember as a species, and the rest will take care of itself.
Yes.
I think it really will. I'm an optimist at my heart, and I think that the world is genuinely good, and things will actually materialize for better there.
Yes. John, just a little bit like looking into the future.
Yeah.
How would you see the societies like in 2 decades? Like what is right now, and what will be in like a little bit into the future?
So,
are we going to
like
connect?
2030, 2040?
Yeah, like yes. Let's make that kind of the futuristic thing. 2030, let's say. Oh no, that's like 2040. Let's do 2040. As we are moving, let's say that we are doing right now a movie 2040, and how do you see the world?
They think they're calling for singularity when AI sort of has enough capacity by 2042. I think, I quoted yesterday Marshall McLuhan in one of my talks, talking about the medium is the message, and that's sort of your classic statement. But he also said that at first we shape the tools, then the tools shape us. So right now we're building the tools. We're building the pipes, the internet, the protocols, the AI engines, and at some point those engines are going to start to shape us. So we're going to adapt because we can't keep up to the tools themselves. Technology is advancing at exponential rate, whether that is AI systems, whether that is connectivity systems, cryptocurrencies and trust engines, but we as a species are only advancing at a linear rate. And as soon as you do that, the technology is growing faster than we can keep up with. So what's going to happen? I think we have not seen a blink of what's about to happen. I think we're about to have a world in which connectivity and a true universal basic income is achieved simply by people being connected and by being a part of this greater system, if we will it. Like there's a lot of hesitancy and fear, going back to your very first question, that people will try to put the brakes on because it's an unknown, scary future, because it is scary. If you think about the automation that's about to occur in people's jobs, my poor job, I'm going to be out of a job. There's 12 million truck drivers in America alone that are going to be out of work. But they're not going to sit there and say, that's it, I'm done, there's nothing else to do. They're going to be able to use that time where they spent previously doing that work to identify new work, new opportunities, new value creation. So I think
are
that's
you seeing the world as the world of creation? That's the world of the future?
I think once again, we as a species do some things really, really well. One of the things we do is create. We create art, we create poetry, we create music, we create magic. Those elements of creation is what makes us who we are. One of the other things that they have in the refugee camps is they have the capacity to tell stories. And that storytelling ability is actually a very human element, and any person anywhere on the planet can tell stories. If you can tell stories, you can impart knowledge, you can impart wisdom, and you can make somebody laugh or cry or do whatever if you have the chance to engage and share what might be. So when you talk about the future, I think it's going to be filled with lots of stories, lots of poetry, lots of music, and that's a pretty good world to be in.
And I love it because I love the stories. So I'm looking forward to the future then.
Me too.
Great, John. Thank you so much. Such a pleasure to
Absolutely.
having you here and talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.